Welcome to Shooby Dooby Doo Up, a podcast where we talk about pop music. We're halfway through our deep dive of the UK Top 10 Singles Chart of the 26th of March 1990. I'm James Cook.
I'm Andy Robinson.
And here are the songs that we've covered so far. Down to number 10, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You by Michael Bolton.
Reminded me of Beauty and the Beast, an old ITV programme for some reason.
Down 5 to number 9, Jive Bunny and That Sounds Good to Me.
Does it sound good to you? That's up to the individual.
Up 9 places to number 8, it's Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants.
A classic about a nightlight. That old chestnut.
Down 2 to number 7, I'll Be Loving You, brackets Forever by New Kids on the Block.
We only talked about it 10 minutes ago and I've already forgotten it.
And up 1 to number 6, David A. Stewart and Candy Dulfer with Lily Was Here.
In my head, Lily was here, she wasn't there. A stinker.
All the songs, wow. All the songs featured can be found on our Spotify and YouTube playlists. Links are in the description. And if you join our Patreon community, you can get access to our bonus tracks. Half a dozen songs that are in the chart but aren't in the top 10. Here's a taste of what you can expect in that. Andy, let me ask you a question. Just what is it that you want to do?
Want to be free to do what I want to do.
Did Kirsty MacColl have a torrid affair with former Prime Minister James Callaghan?
I heard this reverberating around sometimes.
Really?
Yeah, man.
DJ's putting this on?
Yeah.
They need to get people out of the building. This is the best podcast in the world.
This is my point, James. Yeah. Maybe we have to dig into more of that.
Join our community now at patreon.com/ShoobyPodcast.
Number 5.
Down 4 places this week to number 5. If it's number 5 and it's down 4, it can only have been number 1. It is Dub Be Good to Me by Beats International.
Featuring Lindy Layton.
Brackets?
No, not in brackets.
Okay.
Just regular.
I'm glad she's not in brackets. Featuring Lindy Layton. Go on, drop the fact that everyone used to talk about at the time when this record came out. Here we are, however many years later. Lindy Layton, of course, famous for...
Well, she was in Press Gang.
Press Gang.
Yeah.
Was it? Just that?
Well, yeah, but she wasn't in Press Gang until after this was a hit.
Oh, really?
She'd filmed it before it was a hit, and then she was in it after.
Why did everybody say she was on something else? And at the time, Lindy Layton from
I think
Grange Hill
no, she was never in Grange Hill.
What?
I think that's an urban myth.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure she was never in Grange Hill.
So she wasn't a actor before this record. She was Lindy Layton, the bona fide pop star.
Well, she was an actor, but she hadn't been on the telly yet.
All right, then. It doesn't matter anyway. Let's talk about the music rather than...
Can we talk about Lindy Layton a bit more?
Yeah, do it.
That was an awakening within me.
Oh, really? You had a little thing for Lindy Layton. It's part of pop music, of course. As we alluded to with New Kids on the Block, it would be churlish of us, James, to turn away from our own, let's call it little dark, dirty desires.
It's not dark and dirty.
It's dark and dirty.
Quite innocent.
You'd be a lot happier man if you accepted this side of you within. I don't know why I said that.
And the fact that she ends up on Press Gang alongside Julia Sawalha as Linda Day, I mean, that was just too much for 12-year-old me to take.
You're too keen women.
Yeah.
I mean,
it explains so much about my psychology, that.
I get you. All right, then. Well, I like you admitting about your, let's call it, teenage crush. I mean, when Lindy Layton... All right, then I'll talk about Lindy Layton and how impressed I was with her. Because when I first saw her singing Top of the Pops around this time, everyone used to watch Top of the Pops every week. It was the only way you could do it. I liked her. She had, like, the baseball cap on backwards and the tracksuit and the great dancing it was. Whatever sort of skank it was, I liked it. Now, as this record got more popular and on Top of the Pops every week when it was number 1 doing its run, I'm going to say Lindy Layton lost a little bit of that initial performance charm. She started dressing, this is my vague memory, she started dressing more conservatively and she wasn't bopping and hopping when she was singing this song anymore. So that kind of disappointed me at the time. Of course, I can laugh about it now as a folly of youth.
I just remember at the time going, that's a woman.
Right.
And obviously watching it back now, she's only like 19, 20.
Yeah. That's all right, though. You were much...
I was 12.
Yeah.
I saw her live years later under the guise of her being Hard Knocks when she was a DJ for the Big Beat Boutique.
Okay.
I stood quite near her.
You and Lindy Layton have got a thing going on.
No, I don't think she has she?
You have got a thing going on with Lindy Layton.
Maybe. You never get over that, do you? You never really get over that.
No. I mean, you know, I can't wait for Betty Boo to turn up, to be honest, James. Yeah, I mean, like someone on YouTube, with they've got a crush on Lindy Layton, I'm going to say, because Sasha VJS comments... I used to dance around it to this in my high tops, wearing my Kangol hat on backwards, thinking I was the absolute shit. Thanks, Sasha VJS. Good comment.
Is this the first mashup hit?
Well, I am delighted you bring this up because let's call it your infatuation with Lindy Layton that you can't stop going on about. We haven't talked about the obvious things with this record, have we? Bass line from Clash, Guns of Brixton, is it?
Yep.
The song, of course, by who did the song?
The SOS Band.
SOS Band, my apologies. Also, I think there's a little Ennio Morricone type of sample in there of harmonica.
The harmonica. So 6 or 7 years later, when I'm at university, and we watch Once Upon a Time in the West, and it's the start of the movie, and it's Charles Bronson who plays that harmonica piece in, in the movie. When he played that, I just went, "It's done be good to me."
What a treat.
Yeah. That's
yeah.
where that's from.
Cool.
That moment of realisation.
I mean, it's got all these great components. SOS, Clash, Charles Bronson blowing his harp. And yet my favourite bit of it is the bit in the middle that goes, whatever it is, that solo.
Yeah, which is from
Catchy.
a little soulful tune by Taj Mahal.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So that's a bit of another record as well.
And the rap is
Go on, James, do it.
from Johnny Dynell's Jam Hot, but re-recorded by the hilariously named DJ, David John Baptiste. He re-recorded it for this record.
So it's a component of 5 records.
All mashed up together.
Yeah. Well, the first mashup, who knows? But yeah, it's
The first mashup hit? First mashup number 1, maybe?
Yeah, let's say that. Email us in if you disagree, or even just keep it to yourself and think we're a right pair of tools. That's fine too.
Did you ever hear the album that this is on, Let Them Eat Bingo?
No.
I had it on cassette and vinyl.
You're a fan?
I got it twice for my birthday in 2 different formats.
Because you're always going on about Lindy Layton.
Yeah, and I listened to the cassette a lot, but I still have the vinyl.
You contributed to this record being a hit.
It's still great now.
Yeah, I mean, I love the song by the SOS Band anyway. I love that record. If I had to, not that you have to, I would choose that one over this, but nonetheless, it's a groover and a mover, and you can't help. I've had it on this week. Gets you dancing, doesn't it, whether you like it or not?
Lindy Layton was so successful with this song that they re-recorded their second single, Beats International's second single, which was called Don't Talk About It, which on the album is Billy Bragg singing in a falsetto voice.
I remember, like a bit like Jordan from New Kids on the Block.
But on the single version, it's Lindy Layton singing it. And then she went on to have a solo hit with a cover of Silly Games, which, of course, I bought on 7-inch single. Had a picture of her on the front, didn't it?
Yeah, you love Lindy Layton. This is good, isn't it? Had you remembered this before this week? Were you, was this a thing that was within you anyway? Or
Never forget.
You never forget. You never forget your first wank to top of the...
Oi! Will you stop reducing everything to the gutter, please?
Can't stop. I can't help myself.
It was a very pure and romantic, tiny 12-year-old me was going to sweep in somehow.
That's
going to
true.
sweep Lindy Layton off her feet.
Yeah. Well, I think this is all right. I mean, let's talk about this. I mean, it's come up in an unusual place, but the notion of you fancying your pop star of choice and that being part of the dynamic, I wouldn't like to not acknowledge that in a pop music podcast, James. It's definitely part of the whole scam of things, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, and had, if this podcast of ours was a little bit more representative of the population at large and had a female voice on it, for goodness sake, then when we got to New Kids on the Block...
To be fair, we haven't asked any women in, so...
To be fair, they probably wouldn't want to do it. Do you want to come to Andy's shed on a Monday? We're not allowed to kidnap them, Andy. If anything, that's worse. But if they were of a certain age to us, they might have been saying similar things about Joe McIntyre from New Kids on the Block. So
I like it, James, because I'm going to say it's a part of your personality. You keep under wraps sometimes. Your, let's call it your lustful side, looking on the male gaze. You terrible, terrible man. So I like it. Lindy Layton's copped it for you.
Terrible 12-year-old boy. That was.
You toxic masculinity, fancying Lindy Layton, objectifying her. What is going on? Why'd you admit it now? Do you see this thing on Strictly Come Dancing?
What's happened?
Someone did a dance this week, and within the dance, one fella put his hand on the female dancer's hip. She brushed it off. Loads of people have gone, I don't think that looks right, and they've had to go, sorry for that, it was a joke and we're doing a dance. Sorry for that. And I think, come on, everybody.
All right, chubby checker.
How funny he used to say.
We talked about the whole record and we haven't mentioned Norman Cook at all.
Cool.
Number 4.
Down 1 to number 4. It's Blue Savannah by Erasure. I remember thinking at the time, this isn't as much fun as the other Erasure songs.
No, it's it's got a melancholy, hasn't it? And it's a more complicated song, I think, at least melodically than a lot of their other ones. I've been digging it this week, though.
Yeah, I kind of started listening to it again, going, God, oh yeah, I remember this one. And it starts a bit keyboard demo-y, but it really builds, doesn't it?
Do you think it's... I thought the intro, the keyboard demo thing you allude to, which goes on... It's quite a long intro, 40 seconds, almost unheard of these days in terms of get to the chorus, don't bore us. I think it sounds really modern. I heard it and I thought like a new record to come on my playlist somehow. I thought it sounded bang up to date, me personally.
Yeah, and it's quite a simple song in terms of the chorus and the verses.
Do you think...
then,
Yeah.
I think where it comes to life is the middle eight.
The bridge,
is
or
it
what do you call it?
What-
Middle eight, the bridge, whatever
What is
you
the
want to call
difference
it.
between the middle eight and the bridge?
I don't know. I
They're
think
just the
middle
same
eight
thing.
is essentially like more of an English phrase, really.
Oh, okay.
Essentially. I mean, it alludes to 8 bars. These bridges often haven't got 8 bars. And also when people call things middle eight, it didn't matter if they had 8 bars or not.
Yeah.
Middle eight or bridge, I don't mind. Either way or...
But it's very layered and interesting things are happening sonically. It's like that's when this song goes into Technicolor, I think.
Okay. I mean, I'm slightly surprised you say the verses, let's call it more mundane. That's my word, not yours.
I said
appreciate it.
simple.
Simple.
Or basic, I
All right,
think.
then. I think the melody swoops and is quite complicated, actually, me personally. I think the melodies to the verse and the chorus, and is the chorus the verse or the refrain? I think it's got a really interesting melody that left me feeling a little bit swoopy and boopy and unaware where I was. Not that boop is a word, but nonetheless, I've just said it. Blue Savannah, of course, got that cowboy element to it, hasn't it? It's, lyrically and I think musically a little bit. It reminds you a touch of a cowboy song. You're looking at
Yeah,
me.
sure.
Yeah, why
I
not?
don't know what they're going on about.
No,
going
no.
across the desert.
They're going across the desert to find some love, I would imagine. The words, you know me, I'm writing to words usually because of the sound and the sumptuous nature of it. I wasn't so bothered about the lyrics for this one. I was just digging the whole warm bath of it. Is it worth mentioning Vince Clarke? He's got a touch of the pop genius about him too, hasn't he? To
Yep.
overuse that word.
He was in Depeche Mode, of course. Then he worked with Alison Moyet. And then he worked with Andy Bell, who sounds a lot like Alison Moyet.
Yes, for sure. Great singer, Andy Bell, isn't he?
Yeah. And there are Erasure fans who are they are.
Fanatic.
Yeah, they are. They're fanatical. Yeah.
These fans.
The proper Erasure fans.
Yeah.
Don't bow mouth Erasure in front of them.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. That's true of all, let's call it all enthusiasm for pop stars, isn't it? I mean, I was going to slag Lindy Layton off till I saw a look in your eyes. Leave her alone. Yeah, I mean, at the time I didn't love it. It's certainly not as immediate as a couple of their other big hits, but you can't deny it. It's a gem, this song.
Somewhere across the desert, sometime in the early hours, where, of course, the desert is famously very cold, on the open highway, racing across the desert at 100 miles an hour. It's irresponsible. It's a good job there weren't any speed cameras on the desert then.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
Erasure would have to go on a course.
I think the words are essentially often chosen for the sound of them rather than the meaning. That's not a bad thing, of course. You say you feel the verses were pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I would kind of agree with you. I mean, it's only got the one bit in. G and A, it's a song. Oh, G, and then again, A for then a song. And it keeps doing that. Somewhere across the desert, G, 100 miles. And it's already swooping and whooping. On the rest of this world on the open highway. And then a lovely bit. My home is where the heart is. Sweet to you surrender. And then crucially, a little key that's not a chord that's not in the key.
Is that modulation?
No, that's just changed major.
No.
That is
Got excited.
that is major to minor, to quote the old song. But how strange the change from major to minor. So they do that bit. Sweet and the only a Oh yeah, lovely tune. Not that you would know from me demonstrating that, but it's a simplistic in terms of its chords, but a beautiful swooping melody.
Number 3.
Up 3-3 is Candy Flip with Strawberry Fields Forever. I looked into it, James. This song was written by Lennon and McCartney.
What?
Yeah, man.
Is this a cover version
Cover version. Candy Flip.
of your beloved Beatles?
Of one of my beloved Beatles, for certainly. Yeah.
This could go either way, couldn't it, with you?
In terms of my interpretation of it.
Yeah, whether you're going to be disgusted that they would dare or whether you would welcome it as a contribution to the greater Beatles patchwork across all culture.
Or a deep ambivalence, possibly.
Oh, is that where we're going?
I don't know. Go on, tell me all about it.
Well, Candy Flip are two blokes from Stoke called Danny Spencer and Rick Peat. They both went on to work as producers. Rick Peat worked with the Charlatans. Danny Spencer did loads of remixes, worked with Robbie Williams.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
I love Robbie Williams. So...
Do you know what a candy flip is?
Nope.
It's when you take ecstasy and LSD at the same time.
Really?
Yep.
Pretty good then.
And it was kind of tacked onto sort of the whole Manchester scene, wasn't it?
Well, this record.
It was kind of a Manchester version of Strawberry Fields Forever. Come on then, Andy, as our Beatles expert.
All right then. At the time, I can't say I hated it. It was on top of the pops. I'd watch it. A little bit of me thought, what is the point of this? What is going on? I love the Beatles. Why do this? It's not as good. So I had all that going on this week especially, but even then really a little bit of me thought, it's a bit like we were alluding to Jive Bunny earlier, really. I mean, it's not the best version of these songs, but I kind of like these songs being out and about. I certainly like people who maybe don't know them having a chance to hear them. It's not the worst thing in the world, is it? Interestingly, this record has got no bass on it. You know, I like the bass player in the Beatles quite a lot. Don't know if I've mentioned it. And also, it made me also realise, listening to Candy Flip version, of how great there is references and allusions to the string section in this song. But what I've found listening to this week with its bassless wandering, its little funky drummer sampled hip-hop groove, I found myself singing loads of string parts that I didn't really know were part of the song. Let me take you down because I'm going to Strawberry Fields. I'm going da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Nothing is real. And I find myself just singing all the string parts from the Beatles song that aren't in the Candy Flip. So that was good. Shout out to George Martin for arranging the strings, I would imagine. I'm for it, essentially. It's Strawberry Fields Forever. It's a great song. I'm not that puritanical about Beatles are the best and that no one should do it. And, you know, I'd like them to have gone a little bit madder with it, if anything.
I think the drum does a lot of heavy lifting, doesn't it?
I believe so, and I believe it is the funky drummer sample, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Yes, if you don't know that, it's a James Brown sample from the drummer. Can't remember his name at the moment, my apologies. But I mean, this funky drummer sample breakbeat has appeared on thousands of records.
Clyde Stubblefield.
Nice work.
Is the drummer. It's fine, isn't it? I think when the drums kick in, I think it comes into its own, but it's not awful.
No, how could it be? I mean,
It's fine.
It's what it is, isn't it?
Hey, Candy Flip got to be on the front cover of Smash Hits.
Did they?
That was a slow week. And you think, come on, Lindy Layton's right there.
Yeah. What's wrong with you? Smash Hits.
Come on.
Well, I like the Candy Flip. I like the fact about the ecstasy and the LSD cocktail.
Bet you
That's
do.
changed things, hasn't it? I mean, I would, maybe that's the way to listen to this record, make things more interesting.
Number 2.
A non-mover at number 2. It never gets to number 1, but it is Love Shack by the B-52s. Andy, what did the B-52s lose in 2008?
I don't know.
The apostrophe in their band name.
You're such a nerd. Why?
Because it's more than one B-52.
Right.
It's not things belonging to the B-52.
Okay, and they bothered to change that much later?
In 2008.
Yeah, because it was annoying them being told that.
I finally could sleep when they did that. Sold over 3 million copies worldwide. Number 3 on the American chart. Number 1 in Australia for 8 weeks. From the album Cosmic Thing, which I had on cassette.
This was a record I alluded to at the top of this show that I bought on single.
Ah, this is the one.
Yeah, man. I was looking at that top 40. I also bought Adamant Room at the top on single, which is a sentence I never thought I'd be saying on the internet, but here we are.
You were the
go
one.
You said it's a non-mover. It certainly isn't a non-groover.
No.
So groovy.
It's
so catchy.
I think what's happened is because it's played at so many weddings and office parties now that I think people lose track of how good it is.
Fair enough. I agree.
It's become oh, bloody Love Shack, you know, because we're at a part. No, it's really good, guys.
Yeah, it's a belter. I mean, sounds great. They're all sounding great. The voices sound good. The groove of the music is fantastic. The lyrics are interesting.
Yeah.
The phrasing is... Yeah. Don't take this record for granted if you can.
And the whole thing, it was put together. It was kind of a jam session that then got put into a structure by the producer of the record, who was Don Was. Was not Weiss, yeah. He wasn't their first choice to produce it.
Really?
No.
Who would it be?
It's our friend, Nile Rodgers. They wanted Nile Rodgers. He was busy. They got Don Was to do it, which is not bad.
No, maybe that's where Niall's philosophy, as we mention every week, came up. He thought this song's rubbish, and then he thought, oh no, it's a massive hit. I should listen to myself.
Yeah, and there's some tragedy in the story of the B-52s leading up to this song.
Oh, go on. I know nothing about it.
So they'd had a hit in 79.
Rock Lobster,
which had been a minor hit, but it had a bigger cultural shadow, and one of the members of the band died, sadly, in 1985. Ricky Wilson, who was the guitarist.
R.I.P. Ricky Wilson.
Yeah, and his sister is Cindy Wilson, who's one of the singers, and they weren't going to carry on, but in 88 they got back together and decided to work together again. Keith Strickland, who had been the drummer, moved on to the guitar, and they started working on new stuff. They got in a couple of session musicians to work as the drummer and the bassist. The bass player on this is Sarah Lee, who is from a small West Midlands town, but I don't know which one.
Okay.
From round our way, Andy. They were jamming in a studio in Woodstock, and that's where Love Shack came from.
Yeah. Something like that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
Unless you're one of their lawyers, in which case it's nothing like that.
It's only C and B flat, everybody. Calm down. We're not doing any. Then there's a little bit that goes. Something like that. I like it. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, and it's got a lot of sort of things that were like in one take that they liked, that they kept in. The famous Tin Roof Rusted was a bit where they just all stopped playing and she just yelled it.
Really?
And they all started laughing and they thought it was great. We'll put that in.
I mean, it sounds like it's got a spontaneity anyway.
Yeah.
It doesn't surprise me. Despite the, let's call it, the discipline often needed to make a hit. It's got a little sense of looseness and joy about it, hasn't it?
Yeah, and you can hear the sort of the partying in the background, can't you?
All the voices. Yeah. I mean, like I say, all the different melodies. They're all bits right away.
Apparently,
beautiful melodies over just a simple groove.
Yeah. Apparently, the Love Shack is the little old place where we could get together was only in the song once.
Yeah.
And Don was like, this needs to be in it more than once.
For sure.
This is a chorus.
That's a good bit. It goes C, Love Shack, E flat, F, and then crucially a little G sharp there to just make you, let's just go in.
Bit of raunch.
I mean, it's almost a bit like how could I dance with another, and then that G sharp. And it, brilliant. Thank you, B-52s.
It's based on a real club outside of Atlanta, Georgia, called Hawaiian Harley.
Oh, yeah.
And it is based on a cabin with a tin roof that Katie Pearson, the other female singer, once lived in, and where the band wrote Rock Lobster.
Okay.
They were singing about those two places.
I've got a vague memory of everyone saying Tin Roof Rusted was some allusion to pregnancy back in the day.
The band say it's literally about...
It's a tin roof that's rusted.
There were loads of shacks. They grew up in Athens, Georgia. There were loads of shacks with rusty tin roofs. That's why
appealing. I've got a friend who thinks Love Shack sounds a grotty little place where there's glitter on the mattresses and glitter on the... He thinks it sounds like a little sex den that people go off to. I liked it. I'd never considered Love Shack to be grotty before. But
it's a health and safety nightmare, I'll tell you that much.
Go on.
Here's my list of problems with the Love Shack.
Okay.
It's set way back in the middle of a field, right? So there's no bloody parking. It's a funky...
What do you mean there's no parking? There's loads of parking.
Set way back in the middle. I'm not parking in a field. I'll never get the car out again. It's a funky... I don't drive a 4x4. It's a funky old shack. That means it smells. There's glitter on the mattress, glitter on the highway, glitter on the front porch, glitter on the hallway. It just gets everywhere.
Yeah, a lot of glitter about.
It's hot as an oven. I mean, that's going to be unpleasant in Georgia, isn't it?
Yeah.
Get some air conditioning. Also, fire hazard. The whole shack shimmies, so it's structurally unsound. And as we've mentioned, the tin roof is rusted.
Okay.
I mean, you'll never sell it, is my point.
Nope.
The survey would come back very bad.
Nope.
And, people are banging on the door and you can't hear them.
Yep. I mean,
what if it's an emergency?
I get you. I get your comedic take on its grottiness.
And we know it's got a mattress.
It's got a dirty mattress in the corner.
Do you reckon dancing in a shack in the middle of a field, there's a mattress in it? No thanks.
Yeah.
No thanks. I've seen horror films.
Okay.
It's the prequel of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. That's what Love Shack is.
All righty.
I love the song. Don't get me wrong.
No.
That song comes on, I'm up and dancing. But I'd have to try not to think too much about how much I don't want to go to the Love Shack.
It's not as appealing as a psychedelic shack by the Temptations.
Yes.
Is what you're saying.
Yes, a song we have covered in a previous bonus episode. This song is banned from weddings on Disney property.
Really?
Yeah, they
Why?
think it's too rude.
Bloody Disney.
Yeah.
And their nonsense yet again.
Did you watch the video?
I didn't this week. I remember it vaguely from the past. Tell me all about it.
Who appears in it in a
B-52s, of course.
but like a pre-fame
I don't know.
megastar is
I
in
don't
this
know
video? RuPaul is in the
Really?
video dancing
Oh, cool.
in the Love Shack. Why wasn't Love Shack a hit in Japan?
Because it was never played there. It was banned.
No,
Why?
it's because of the name of the band.
yeah.
Seriously.
Okay.
The B-52s, which is an American warplane, of course. Although the atomic bombs were delivered by B-29s, so calm down, Japan. And the band aren't even named after the planes. They're named after the beehive hairdo,
Right.
which was called a B-52. But that was called a B-52 because it apparently looked like the nose of a B-52 bomber. So you can't
Okay.
have it both ways. Another version of this song by the B-52s can be heard in an episode of The Simpsons where they sing Glove Slap when Homer is going around challenging everyone to a duel. And there are some connections between the B-52s and artists we have already referred to in this week's podcast.
Really?
Yes. Fred Schneider,
Yeah.
who is the bloke who goes, Love Shack, baby!
Amongst other things, he's talked.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just think that's great, and I wish more pop songs had someone like Fred in them, just shouting out the name of the song.
Absolutely.
What's a song that you haven't liked in this chart?
The New Kids on the Block one.
Imagine if that was playing and he's
Yeah.
singing in his falsetto voice, and then all of a sudden Fred Schneider goes, I'll be loving you, brackets forever, in the background. You'd be
Make
like,
it
this
better.
is so much better.
I get you.
Anyway, that could have happened because Fred Schneider was a guest vocalist on Joe McIntyre's solo album, Meet Joe Mac, in 2001.
Oh, okay.
So there's that connection. Fred Schneider always reminds me of Kenneth Williams.
I can see that.
Oh, matron! Cindy Wilson is sampled on a track that Vince Clarke made for The Family Fantastic in 2000.
All the strands are finally tying together.
But I know what the piece of information you want to know about things that arise from the song Love Shack, and that is that the dwarf sperm whale is actually smaller than a Chrysler.
Yeah, all right. Nice work.
A blue whale.
What did you Google to find this out?
What's the smallest whale? A blue whale.
Yeah.
A blue whale is 30 meters long, which is roughly the same length as the world's longest car.
Right.
Yeah, a super limo built by J. Erberg in Burbank, California, which can actually seat 75 people, not 20, as Schneider boasts. Also, a large waterbed, a swimming pool complete with diving board, jacuzzi, bathtub, mini golf course, and a helipad, which sounds a lot better than the Love Shack.
It's a novel form of research that you've done for it, but
Yeah.
I'm not moaning. I'm all for it.
What if the song was, I've got a long car,
Yeah.
it's better than the Love Shack?
Yeah.
Come to the long car, there's no glitter, we've got a jacuzzi. Is the jacuzzi properly maintained? Yes, it is. Then I'm there.
I am looking at while you're having a nice time over there, which I'm all for, by the way. That's not criticism. I'm looking at up interpretations at song meanings. Tia 007 says, I thought it was just a stupid song about like a dance shack and the dude has a big ass car and it's like nappy inside and shit. So you have to be high or drunk or both to want to go, let alone stay there. Wow. No, had no idea there was a sex theme going on in there.
But actually, the band say it's not that. The band say it's about an inclusive place where everyone can go without fear of judgment. That's what it's about. And you've got to bear in mind, 3 of the 4 B-52s are gay or bisexual.
Yep.
So in 1990, it was somewhere for them
I
to
get
go
ya.
without fear.
Yeah, great. It's a little old place where they could get together,
Yeah.
literally. Giak says, this song is great. If you don't like this song, then you can just get the hell out of America. You commie bastard.
Did he?
Yeah, nice work. I think he's taking the mick.
The UK's number 1.
Up 11 this week. A huge leap to number 1. It is The Power by Snap. Number 1, James.
The first rap record to be a UK number 1 single.
That makes it kind of historical and iconical. It's groundbreaking.
It is. But is it also the second mashup to get to number 1 after the aforementioned Dub Be Good To Me?
What do they mash up in here?
Well, the drums are from Mantronic's King of the Beats.
Right.
And Mantronic's got the, the cowbell the high cowbell that's all the way through it. That's from a 1975 song, Take Me to the Mardi Gras by Bob James. I've Got the Power is from Jocelyn Brown's Love's Gonna Get You. And a lot of the rest of it is from Let the Words Flow by Chill Rob G, including the It's Getting Kind of Hectic. And that's how the song started. Snapper, basically two German record producers called Michael Munzink and Luca Ancelotti. And they wanted to put that record out, but there were all kinds of legal issues with using the samples. So they got in a lady called Penny Ford, singer, to re-record I've Got the Power. So it's Penny Ford singing it on the record. It isn't the sample, but it is her copying the Jocelyn Brown line. And they got in this guy Turbo B to redo the raps. It's actually almost completely different from the Chill Rob G one, apart from the it's getting kind of hectic. That's the only bit that he's kept. Most of the rest of it he's changed. Turbo B was a bloke called Duran Butler, who they found on an American army base in Friedberg. He was in the US Army.
Oh, great facts. I mean, what do you make of this record? It's, again, iconic, isn't it? Ding, ding, tick, 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 ding, ding.
My memory is that this made such a big leap up the charts because they had been on Top of the Pops the week before.
Right, the power of Top of the Pops.
I think that's what happened. That's my memory of it. It might be a Nelson Mandela moment. But yeah, I mean, hell, I had the album on cassette.
Did you?
The back of this.
The Kiss album? No one ever called it that,
No.
but yeah. What, because you loved it so much you bought the album?
Yeah, it's
good album. Remember anything about it?
I remember the songs that then went on to become singles as well.
Okay.
There was Oops Up, and there was the one about Mary that had lines about condoms in it, which,
Okay.
you know, as a 12-year-old, I found disgusting.
Not if Lindsay Layton was about, you wouldn't. If there's, I wasn't particularly into the record. I missed it at the time. It's undoubtedly a classic, as you say, possibly groundbreaking, possibly innovative. Like the words, the rap quality I possess. I say I'm fresh when my voice goes through the mesh of the microphone that I'm holding. Copywritten lyrics so they can't be stolen. Whoops, my apologies. Sorry, Snap.
Don't need the police.
You don't need the police. He's trying to save him because my voice will cease. Trying to silence me for saying how great he is.
Yeah, listening to it again this week, the entire rap came back to me. I could just do it over the top.
I'm proud of you. I like
Thanks,
that kind of behaviour.
Yeah, I think that's every middle-aged white man needs to be able to do a bit of a rap, don't they?
Yeah.
That's what everyone wants to hear.
I had a look on YouTube. There's a live performance from them doing it a couple of years ago, so I like the idea that the Snapper are out and about.
Is it the original one?
Probably not, but
Yeah.
who gives them monkeys?
Penny Ford and Turbo B only met after this song had got to number one.
Really?
Yeah, they had recorded their bits individually. Cool. According to Penny Ford, Turbo B was problematic to work with, so she walked away from the Snap project at that point, and so it's not her on Rhythm is a Dancer. If I was to say to you, the American company Transceptor Technology has started production of the personal companion computer, would you know what that meant?
Nope.
What if I said it in Russian?
Go on.
That's the first bit of the record.
Huh?
There's that Russian bit at the beginning of the record.
Oh, yeah. What they're saying?
They're saying the American company Transceptor Technology has started production of the personal companion computer.
That's the beginning of the record.
Yeah, but in Russian.
No, that's an audacious opening, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
It just sounds Russian and cool.
Yeah,
and it's
right.
like, it doesn't really matter what it is. It's quite a boring piece of technical nonsense. 6 months after the Berlin Wall has come down as well.
Well done, Snap. He also claims to be the lyrical Jesse James at some point.
Does that mean he's going to get shot by the coward Robert Ford?
I wouldn't be Jesse James if you... Also, Jesse James famously stole things. So what's he moaning about his copyright lyrics for if you say Jesse James? What's good for the goose is also good for the gander, Snap. I'm being stupid, of course.
On July the 5th, 2011, the top 19 stories of the 39-story building housing the Gangbyong branch of the Technomart shopping mall in Seoul, South Korea, shook violently for 10 minutes, causing the building to be evacuated for 2 days. It wasn't an earthquake. It was found that an exercise class on the 12th floor had been playing The Power by Snap really loud, and it happened to match the building's resonant frequency and caused it to violently shake.
Great.
The whole shack shimmies, never mind that, 39-story skyscraper in South Korea, mate, shimmies.
Yeah.
With the power.
Up your game, B-52s.
You'd have thought if anyone was destroying buildings in the Far East, it'd be the B-52s.
With or without the apostrophe. I get ya. Was it used in an advert? I feel
Yes, it's been in like a supermarket advert, isn't it, where they go round. I've got the power to get slightly lower prices on my grocery.
Yeah.
And that cheapen the song for me.
I think I used to sing it because of, let's call it, my financial situations when I listened to. I think I used to sing it when I used to get credit on my electricity key sometimes. I think that's a vague memory. I got the power. I think so.
Yeah, whenever you buy batteries or fix a plug.
I like a song that lasts forever in different contexts.
Yeah. So that brings us to the end of this top 10. What is your overall impression of the selection of songs we've
The top
examined?
10 for me this week, James, I would say the first 5 I was not so bothered about, but the top 5, all great songs, and I was kind of... so listening to it as a whole, which you can do on the Spotify playlist, please remember, because it makes this podcast and actually life better just to listen to some music. It gets better as it goes along, this top 10 for me. I love the top 5. The first 5, not so much.
Yeah, I think you're about right there. Apart from Birdhouse in Your Soul, which
is one of your all-time favourites. Is that what you're choosing as your number 1 this week?
I mean, yeah, but also Don't Be Good to Me.
Yes.
Also Love Shack.
Yes.
Also The Power a bit.
Okay. I am going to go for Blue Savannah just because I loved it this week and it reminded me of a song that I dismissed at the time. Hey, thanks for listening. Like I say, listen to the Spotify playlist. Also, we have some extra content, do we not, James?
That's right. We're looking at some of the songs that were in the top 40 this week and never got to be in the top 10. And that is part of our bonus content. You have to sign up. You have to give us a little bit of money to help us produce this podcast if you're enjoying it.
Just a little bit,
It's only
Governor.
just a tiny bit.
Just for our hosting and putting the podcast up. We're not using it for any nefarious means.
Just the amount you spend on Fabergé eggs a week.
Yes,
just send it to us instead.
We're not buying suits or using it for Taylor Swift tickets. That's a little reference that'll go out of date real sharpish. All right.
But in that, for this week, we've got an indie dance classic
Yes.
that never got into the top 10 that will shock you.
Yeah.
We've got the first hip-hop artist to get a Hollywood Walk of Fame star. We've got a song about a form of capital punishment.
Yep.
And we've got some unlikely cover versions as well.
Cool. As we like to say, genuinely mean this. Thank you very much for listening, choosing to spend your time with us, and shooby-dooby-doo up.
Bop, bop, shoe up.